Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday morning. Hope yours is going well. We've got another Seahawks video to get to today, but first I want to give a shout out to all the subscribers, and special tip of the cap goes to the channel members, especially elite channel members: Brandon McKell, Hasher, Salacious Crumb, Rye Guy, Brendan Nelson's Haircut, VGK Tigers, It's Hoof, The Reno, TVO, Austin Roberts, Scott Todd, PH Glass, Aaron Garrett, Arfman, 12th Man, Eli Bennett, Castillo Feria, Samoan, JoJo, and Rep the 206. All right, part 6. So 5 down, 2 to go. Today we are taking a look at the, in my opinion, second most pivotal player for the Seahawks in 2021. This guy will have a huge amount of say in both how the season goes and how we look at the front office at the end of this season, because I don't need to tell you guys that the bet the Seahawks made on this player was massive. We traded for him, and we didn't trade no fourth round pick or third round pick to bring him in. We didn't trade some bottom of the roster crapper to bring him in. No, we gave up the farm for this guy. And usually, when teams give up the farm, they're doing it for a quarterback. They might be doing it for an edge rusher, maybe one or two other positions, but you will not see very many teams give up the farm for a safety. But that is exactly what the Seattle Seahawks did when it came to Jamal Adams. Just in case you've forgotten, 2 first round picks, 1 third round pick, and a decent starting safety in Bradley McDougald for Jamal Adams, and I think we got a 4th round pick back as well. So more than 2 first round picks for a safety. So today's video is going to be somewhat similar to the video we did yesterday in the Bobby Wagner, but unlike Bobby Wagner, who is leaving his prime, Jamal Adams should be entering his prime. So the expectations have to be all the higher. Plus, I think it is overwhelmingly likely that Jamal Adams will be getting extended in the coming days. So, assuming that happens, he's going to be up there with the highest paid players on the team. So, all around, Jamal Adams has a lot to live up to, not only for himself, but for the sake of this organization. Okay, let's take a look at what Jamal Adams did in 2020. I think we're all pretty familiar with what he did. He was very strong in a few areas. There's no doubt about it. He only played in 12 games. He got hurt more than once. He played through injuries a couple times, but he was fantastic rushing the passer. He had 9.5 sacks, which was a NFL record for a defensive back. And he was fantastic against the run as well. He had 11 tackles for loss and 83 tackles overall. So he was great in those areas. He was not great in coverage, where he failed to record a single interception and had all of 3 pass deflections. And he was not very good forcing turnovers. He had 1 forced fumble all season, representing the only turnover he generated all season long. A strip sack on Jared Goff. Nevertheless, he made the Pro Bowl. He made All-Pro second team. So you would say that it was a successful season. If you take a look at his coverage metrics, they are not particularly good, but I have certainly seen worse. So it's very likely that his coverage metrics got exaggerated because of a few really bad games against, like, the Patriots and I think the Buffalo Bills as well. So overall, Jamal Adams had a great season. However, when you look at what we gave up to get him and the money he's about to be making, I think we need to see a little bit more in 2021. PFF, for example, was not that high on his 2020 season. Jamal Adams' 2020 season on PFF earned a grade of 64.2. That's pretty much what Bradley McDougald was getting when he was here. And of course, we know, because we are smart, intelligent people who know how to watch a football game, that Jamal Adams is a lot better than Bradley McDougald. But the fact that PFF doesn't see it that way has to make you think at least a little bit. And it's not like PFF hates Jamal Adams. They gave him a grade of 88 in 2019. So they know how to appreciate a game like this. They just didn't see it from him in 2020. And it kind of makes sense why. Only 1 turnover forced all season, and the coverage numbers being so down. Look, Look, when you get the farm sold in exchange for you, which is the case for Jamal Adams, I don't want to have any caveats. I don't want to hear, oh, well, he's really good in these areas, so we can live with him not being so good in this area. I don't want to hear that. When you give up that many assets for a safety, I want that safety to be the best safety in the league. Now, one of the best. I want him to be the best. And that's what I expect from him in 2021. I want to see all the best assets of other elite safeties in the NFL rolled into one with Jamal Adams in 2021. We know he can cover. He did it in New York. We know he can do these things. He just has to do them. So when you're looking at a player like Buda Baker, we know about this guy. Yeah, we know about this guy. And you look at him having 120 tackles in 15 games, hella active against the run, hella active making plays. And I see that and I go, that's the kind of stuff I need to see from Jamal Adams. I need to see the activity of a Buda Baker. 120 tackles in 15 games from a safety, PFF grade of 75. I want to see that kind of stuff from Jamal this year. Tyrann Mathieu, Honey Badger, 6 interceptions last year, 10 interceptions over the last 2 seasons. 21 passes defensed. I'm not saying I need exactly that kind of stuff from Jamal. I understand that's not necessarily his game. His hands are not amazing. That's why he plays defense. I'm not saying I need him to go out there and have 8 interceptions this year, but it's time to start taking the ball away. If you want to get paid like that, if you want to be the guy we gave up the farm for, it's time to start getting some interceptions. It's time to start being responsible for some turnovers. Tyrann Mathieu, he doesn't have the greatest PFF grade either, but the point is, you got to take the best aspects of these players and you got to be them. Minkah Fitzpatrick, another great example. He had 4 interceptions and 11 pass deflections last year from the safety spot. Absolute killer at that last line of defense for the Steelers. He had amazing coverage numbers. In 16 games, only allowed 224 yards in coverage. 13 completions in 16 games in coverage. I'm not saying you have to be better than that, but I want to see numbers like that. Okay? Minkah Fitzpatrick, PFF grade of 80. This is another guy PFF liked better than Jamal Adams in 2021. There are a lot of safeties they did. This is a good example. What about Jesse Bates? Here's a sleeper. According to PFF, he's the best safety in the league. He made all pro on one of the worst teams in the league. 3 interceptions playing for a terrible team. 15 pass deflections. Over 100 tackles. Great numbers in coverage, too. Only 317 yards allowed. 25 completions over a full 16-game season. Completion percentage down in the dumps. 54.3. These are the kinds of things I want to see from Jamal in 2021. And his PFF grade, like I said, it's sterling, 90.1, pretty much perfect. So that's the standard for Jamal Adams. And it's a very high standard, but he needs to be the catalyst for this team winning on defense this year. He needs to be our best defensive player this year and possibly our best player outside of Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf. So that's number one. But it's not enough to just do that. And this is where we talk more about the organization than Jamal Adams. Kind of like what we did yesterday with Bobby Wagner, because it's the same thing, right? You don't trade 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and a decent player for a safety to have a bad defense. And in 2020, for one reason or another, the defense was kind of bad. Over 6,000 yards allowed. 22nd in the NFL, I think I said yesterday. I think it's 22nd. 15th in points, slightly above average. It's okay. Obviously, things got a lot better as the season went on, but it was still not a good defense. They struggled to force turnovers at times. They couldn't get off the field against the pass. We played the first half of the season with basically no pass rush. It was embarrassing. So the bottom line is, if you are going to give up all these assets for a safety, because I said it last night, I'll say it again. Or, well, I said it yesterday morning, I'll say it again. If you are going to invest on defense in unconventional ways, like for instance, linebacker and safety instead of edge rusher and cornerback, that's fine as long as it works, but it's only fine if it works. So if you want to give all that money to Bobby Wagner and use a first round pick on Jordan Brooks, fine. If you want to go out and trade for Jamal Adams, giving up all these assets, and then you give him all that money that I know he's going to get in the next few months, fine. But the defense had better be good. I'd better not be looking at a defense this year that can't get to the quarterback like I did last year, because I have nothing, or I have very little bad to say about Jamal Adams as a player. I think he's phenomenal. I think that Jamal Adams is capable of being the best safety in the league. But we could have had a bad defense last year with Bradley McDougald just fine, and we could have pocketed those picks. So, uh, first of all, Jamal Adams needs to have an incredible season to justify what we gave up for him. That's part one. He needs to be better than Bobby Wagner is this year, I think. He needs to be better than any player on our defense. But on top of that, and this is where the team comes in, it has to be part of a good defense. A defense that is good enough to win games, a defense that can help boost the team up in the early weeks when I don't think the offense is going to be all the way there. So, hey, expectations are high for Jamal, but when you get traded for the farm, we give up the farm to get you, and you get all that money, again, I'm assuming the extension is coming imminently. I'm gonna have high expectations, and if you don't like that, then could have kept quiet in New York, I guess. All right, I'm gonna go and get out of here. Peace out, Go Hawks. Slightly shorter video because we were covering similar ground to what we covered yesterday in the Bobby Wagner video, but it's kind of the same thing, but more extreme because we gave up more to get Jamal because Jamal is entering his prime. So Jamal Adams' situation is kind of Bobby Wagner's on steroids. So familiar ground, but the point still stands. If Jamal Adams can be part of a really good Seahawks defense in 2021, that massive trade we made, which as of right now looks like kind of a disaster, can start heading in the right direction for this franchise. We can start looking at a future where we look back at that trade and go, yeah, okay, sounds about right. That worked out. Time will tell. Time will tell. All right, see you guys later this afternoon. See you in stream tonight. Peace out. Go Hawks. What do you think? Let me know in the comments.